Welcome to Lewd Mood. I'm Becky.
And I'm Kelly.
And we're your hosts, two 40-something-year-old college roommates ready to take you on a wild ride through the bizarre, scandalous, and downright lewd news of the world and our own lives.
This is going to be good, folks. We promise you'll have a blast. So, without further ado, let's do this. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We had our hiatus. We are back. Welcome to Lewd Mood. I am Kelly.
And I'm Becky. We are back after a 2-week break, which we all desperately needed.
We sure did. But man, I have lived it up in these 2 weeks. Yeah. I sure
have. You?
I sure have. I just got back from San Diego. As you know, I had manifested that I was going to go meet my future husband there. And I didn't.
Yes.
I was planning on going to, I went to a rugby game. And I had the best time. I met one of my friends. I met my friend Josie there. Unfortunately, Josie got hit with the hack. And her flight was, she spent all day in the airport. This poor girl. She was supposed to get there at 1 p.m. Got there at 1:30 a.m. And I honestly.
What a mess. What a mess.
Yeah. God bless her. Because if that was the other way around, that bitch would have been on that trip by herself. I would have not done 12 hours. I would not have done a 12-hour layover unplanned.
You've been like, I'm going home.
Panicked.
Have a great time.
Anxiety would have kicked in. I would have been like, I tried once.
Yeah.
But I had the day by myself. You know, I did go to the rugby game by myself, which the rugby community, which there's a few ruggers that listen to this. The rugby community is fantastic. It's one of the best. So if you ever get a chance to go to a rugby game, do it, because everybody's just there to have a good fucking time, drink their faces off, cheer, and just have a grand time.
I have never been to a rugby game.
We'll go.
Ever. I watched you in college, but no.
Yeah.
Invite me. I will be there. I can do all of those things, and I would love to make some rugby friends. So that sounds awesome. It sounds very exciting. My weekend, not as exciting as San Diego. However, I did have a kid-free weekend from Friday to Monday night, which almost has never, I don't know if that's ever happened in my life, where I was at my house by myself that long. And it was awesome. I filled up my weekend with lots of plans with all of my girlfriends, and I had a really great time. I took a little IKEA trip to Kansas City on Sunday. Just so you're aware. Now, I go to IKEA because it's cheap, right? That's why everybody goes there. Not really that cheap anymore.
That's a bummer.
Number one, the Kansas City IKEA completely picked over every time you go. And number two, the furniture, shitty little particle board desk, was $180. And I'm like, I can get this bitch on Amazon for $70. So I'm not really impressed. But I did get some things that I absolutely could not live without. So it was a nice little weekend. So back to the grind now. Wow. But it was an exciting week on television. And in the political world.
Oh. Should we talk politics for a minute?
I mean, we kind of have to. Okay. Big news.
Big news. Let's just put a disclaimer out here. Listen, I don't think it's a secret. Neither Becky or I lean right. We're more centrists, more left-leaning centrists. Becky's probably a little more left than I am. I'm left-handed. That's all I can handle.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. It has not affected our relationship in the least, at all.
So I'm more of the leave me the fuck alone party.
Yeah, you are.
So if you are somebody who is very right-leaning, just fast forward through it. Because we're going to make a lot of dick jokes. Yeah. We're going to make a lot of you uncomfortable. And we just, this is a safe space for everyone. So just fast on forward through, and more fun will ensue later. Because we're going to talk about vampires.
Yeah. We are. Okay. Well, let's first talk about the two vampires that were running for president. One dropped out.
Oh my God. Seriously. It was like Weekend at Bernie's versus the Crypt Keeper. Dr. Evil.
Yeah. If you've been living under a rock, Joe Biden has officially dropped out of the race for president. And he has backed Kamala Harris, the vice president, and she is well on her way to being the Democratic nominee.
I love it.
It's pretty exciting.
Listen, let me just say this, that people that aren't happy with Kamala Harris, okay, Democrats that aren't happy with her, this is a specific example of when you manifest something, but you're not specific. Okay? For years, what we've been saying is just somebody not old as fuck. It's just anybody who's like normal and not old as fuck. And so what do we get?
Yeah.
We got somebody who's not old as fuck. Okay? Now the rest of it, we're going to have to find out a little bit more about what her political stuff is, because she's been very vice presidency.
She has. She's done nothing.
And that is what vice presidents do.
Yeah. Correct. They do a great job at doing absolutely nothing for the most part.
You know,
yeah, I would agree.
Listen, last time the vice president tried to do something, he almost got hanged. Okay.
Oh, that's true. But he, you know what? He was doing his job. We don't really need to talk about Mike Pence. So I don't know, admittedly don't know a lot about Kamala Harris. I know that she was a prosecutor in San Francisco for a long time. I know Doug is her husband. I know she hasn't done a ton of stuff in the spotlight since becoming vice president. However, I think that could be okay, that I don't know anything terrible about her. So I'm willing to give her a chance. So, I mean, let's be honest, all the politicians are kind of shitty. So
who else would you want to step in but the vice president, right? She knows what's going on.
I mean, yeah. And it made sense with campaign dollars can be transferred over to her, blah, 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 all that stuff. So it makes the most logical sense, us being 3.5 months away from the election.
I know they're like the nutties on the right. Not all people. I mean, like the far right, the nuts. They're saying that this is like illegal and it's like, listen, for years we were saying Joe Biden's old as fuck. And he is old as fuck. And he finally was like, listen, guys, I'm old as fuck. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. Right? So then, who steps in for the president? The vice president. Well,
oh, but Kelly, no woman's ever smart. No, there's no women smart enough to be president. Come on. She'll get her period and probably press the nuclear button.
So 60 fucking years old. Okay, men, any guys who are listening to this that think she's getting her fucking period? She's not.
She's not. I can assure you, she's not.
Oh my god, there are some fucking.
Read a book.
Listen, this guy.
Read a book.
The guy that Trump chose as his vice president.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance sounds a little bit like a commercial on TV for like something, some kind of sleazy sales pitch. J.D. Wentworth.
J.D. Wentworth.
Call 877 cash now. Stop it. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
877. That's what he's trying to do. He's like, I need cash now because my ideas are so fucking nutty.
Oh my God. What a missed opportunity from their marketing person. What a missed opportunity. Buy the rights to that song. Flip that shit right over. Get some new money funneled into the Republican Party. Oh my God.
This guy.
Let's talk a little bit about this guy though.
So J.D. Vance, he grew up poor. He says he's an Appalachian, but he's actually not. He definitely had some struggles.
Yeah.
But he went to Yale.
Yeah.
Went to Yale Law.
Very expensive school.
And then he became very, very, very cozy with a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he also, the billionaire is also a far right Christian nationalist who believes that women shouldn't be able to get divorced, that women should be shouldn't have the right to vote. And he's paid for JD's a lot of stuff. And
Daddy Warbucks.
He got him his first job in tech. And it said like, hey, you're doing a favor for XYZ billionaire. So got to get this guy a job. And he's been selling his soul for power. For money.
And power.
Now I know there's a lot of talk, Becky, about Kamala sleeping her way to the top.
Right.
But JD, I want to know what JD's been doing because JD's real name is actually John David Bowman. JD Vance is not his real name. So that makes me think that he is a sugar baby. And that sugar baby wants everybody to know that he jerks his dick in an advanced way. And so now he is called JD Vance. He's a dick. He's just jerking dicks left and right. JD.
I mean, it is weird for a man to change his last name when it's not like a really hard to pronounce or weird last name. Like, I know people who have unfortunate last names who have changed the spelling or pronunciation later in life as they became professionals because they didn't want to be the butt of a joke. Completely understand. However, his name was completely normal. So, like, that makes no sense. Part of me thinks he was trying to leave that old identity behind and be this new person where nobody would know who he was and you couldn't Google him and find out who his family was, or maybe he's got some crazy uncle in jail, or I don't really know. You know, you never know.
I think he glory holed his way to the head
interesting
of the class. That's what I think.
Well, he may have glory holed his way to the head of the class. You know, I find it really hard to believe that Kamala Harris sucked her way through the LSATs and law school and the bar exam in California, of all places. It's just not possible. So you think what you like, but women are actually intelligent. Yeah. Listen, if that was a possibility, women would have ruled the world a long time ago. Let's be honest. Like, if that's all it took, this would have been over a long time ago.
Okay.
The most interesting thing I think about JD Vance is he was a never Trumper for so long. He just jumped on the most convenient bandwagon that's available. Whatever. It's going to be a really interesting couple of months. Am I looking forward to it? No, I'm not. Not even a little.
Me either.
I just want it to be over. Sucking the energy right out of me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You know what? One of my favorite facts was about the Republican National Convention, Becky. Is now besides the people that were wearing like Tampax on their fucking ears in solidarity.
Oh my God. I cannot.
Which good for you.
Time out real quick about that. I was cut open from hip bone to hip bone. And there wasn't a bandage put on me. Major surgery, had 3 of them on my abdomen, and not one bandage ever. Just so we know. Let me just say, though, no one should ever get shot at, period.
Never.
Period.
Never. Nope, never.
However,
100%.
This is like when my kids have a little red mark on their finger and they are like, I need a Band-Aid. I'm like, no, you don't. They're freak out about it, even though not a drop of blood is coming out.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. Like a child.
Yeah. It was something. My favorite fun fact was that the app Grindr, the RNC crashed the servers because there were so many men at the RNC convention in town that wanted a little JD Vance.
If you don't know what Grindr is, it's Tinder for gay people.
Yeah. And it'll be like,
and it got crashed.
You have 3 matches within 2 feet. So-and-so is 0 feet away from you. And
it's a hookup app.
It is a gay man's hookup app. And it was booming during the RNC. They called it
crashed their server.
They actually referred to it as Grindr's Super Bowl.
Is pretty good. That is about the funniest thing I've ever heard. Like, the irony is not lost on any of us, but how hilarious is that?
A lot of JD Vances in there.
A lot of people just sucking their way to the top at that thing.
Just jerking those dicks.
Kelly.
Just jerking those dicks over there. Jerking dick fans.
Wow, what a shit show. I wish for my own energy I didn't have to lose a week of my life watching so much politics on TV, but this is America, so it's what I did, but boy, it was a lot. So
do you think that one of the politicians could be a vampire and that's why you feel like your energy is so drained? Becky, should we talk about vampires? All right, let's do this.
Yes,
so as you know, Becky, TikTok is the most trusted source of information.
Yes.
And so somehow I got myself onto the vampire TikTok accounts.
Okay.
Right?
I've been there.
So now all of you that are listening to us, you will now be on the vampire TikTok accounts. And it is fascinating.
You're going to like this.
I'm going to tell you, New
You're going to
Orleans is
like
a
it.
hot spot. So if you just go into TikTok,
Yes.
go into search, put vampires in New Orleans, it is going to tell you, you're going to get some stories.
There's a lot of lore from New Orleans because of like the Cajun culture. There was a lot of like voodoo, there's a lot of like black magic type of lore from New Orleans, but also Atlanta and Chicago are also hotspots for vampires, apparently.
Yes.
So Kelly and I both came across the same
Yes.
video on TikTok, and we are going to play it for you. You just need the audio. There's nothing to watch, but we're going to play this video so you can hear about this woman's experience with a vampire in Chicago.
So she is on TikTok and she goes by Jay Frazier. So give her a follow. So we're Jay Frazier. We're taking your video because we think it's fantastic. So here it is.
Yes.
Vampires, so I may as well talk about mine. This New Year's Eve, I was driving Lyft and I picked up an order, and it ended up being at like a place that used to be a church, but it wasn't a church anymore. Obviously, if you saw the festivities that was going on, there were like people with cloaks and like dark hair and heavy eyeliner, and there was like a red glow from the building coming out. 4 guys got into my car. As soon as they got into the car, I felt a chill. And yes, it was winter, but it was a different kind of chill. I turned around and looked at them, and I immediately knew they were vampires. And it wasn't even just like a thought. It was more so a knowing. Before they got into the car, I was thinking like maybe they were devil worshippers because I had seen like a goat head and like the typical symbols that you see with associated with that. But I was like, no, these are vampires. There were 2 brunettes and 2 blondes. They all had blue eyes. Not that that mean anything, but their eyes were almost hypnotically blue. They were so clear, you could see through their, like, not their soul, but I can't even describe it. Their skin was white, but not white like crayon white, but it was very pale. But it was not a pale like, some like white people are like, oh, I'm so pale. Even like red, people with red hair, how pale. It was still a different kind of pale, because even regular people, when they're pale, there's still some warmness to their skin. Like their skin looked cold. I don't know how to describe it, but it was more so the feeling of me knowing. Immediately, I start to panic. My heart is racing. I'm feeling like, is it too late to reject the call? Like, can I even ask them to leave the vehicle? And then I started thinking, okay, if I am panicking and my blood pressure is rising, then I'm like pushing more blood through my veins, which may mean that I may seem more appetizing to them. This is all stuff that's going through my mind. The man behind me, the blonde, who was like in the middle, touches my shoulder, and immediately it's like somebody poured warm honey over me. Like that is the calm just spreading down my body. It was like immediately I felt relaxed, almost like I was in a trance kind of there, but like watching myself. I can't even really describe it. And I knew at that moment that I wasn't necessarily in danger. So then the guy is like, well, our car is only a few blocks away, which I could tell from looking at the app. And he's like, but before we get there, we need you to answer a question. And you have to think very carefully about this. So now I'm like, okay, this answer is going to determine if I go home to my children or not. And it could just be my imagination and like me jumping the gun, and he could have been joking, but it didn't feel jokey. So he's like, okay, well, we have 2 separate cars. How would you group us together? Who should ride with who? What? So I'm like, I look back at them and they're smiling and they're kind of giggling. Now their teeth don't look like regular teeth, but they don't look like the typical vampire teeth either. But they definitely did not look like human teeth. Their canines were a little bit more pronounced, but not in a dramatic, fake way. I can't even freaking describe it. And actually, if I had to describe them, to sketch them out right now, I couldn't even, because it's like they're a memory, but not like a typical memory, like a memory behind a memory. I can't describe it. But anyways, I knew it. I'm like, you're vampires. Yes. I heard the answer in my head. No, I'm looking at them through because I'm like, if they lunge for jugular, I'm gonna crash us all. But I grouped the opposite hair colors together, and the guy said, "Well, why'd you do that?" I said, "I don't know. It just felt right." He said, "Excellent choice." He took out his phone and he's like, "I'm gonna start my car now." And I'm like, "You can start your car from my car?" And he's like, "Yeah, but we like you. You'll get home safe. Good. Like, you'll get home safe tonight. Have a good night." And I was like, yeah, I was kind of thinking that, doing Lyft on New Year's Eve could be dangerous because, like, who knows what kind. I was trying to make it seem like I didn't think they were the danger, but just let them know, like, in case they heard me panicking. Oh, fucking went and saw the vampire. But anyways, they got out and they gave me my biggest tip of the night. You would think that would have been my last ride for the night, but no, I kept going. I made it home, and I didn't tell any other person about this story because, like, are you supposed to share vampire stories? I don't know.
That's wild. Okay.
Welcome to Chicago.
It's weird, right? It's weird. I mean, it is Chicago on New Year's Eve. But that's not the one and only story. But what the hell?
Do you think vampires exist?
Okay. Do I think vampires exist? Well, it's interesting that you say that. I'm kind of a skeptic unless I see something for myself. And I also feel like that kind of stuff doesn't present itself to me because I'm not open to it. Do you know what I mean by that? Yeah. So, like, I never see ghosts. I never hear strange sounds. I don't feel spirits. I don't feel presence of people who have passed. Nothing. Like, because I don't want to. So I feel like that opportunity would not present itself to me. However, I'm also not stupid. And I feel like there's some things that are unexplained in this world. And at some point there has to be something that's true that I just haven't seen. So maybe I kind of feel the same way about vampires as I do about aliens. If you prove to me they're real, I don't know if I'd be surprised. I'd be like, okay, all right.
Aliens are definitely.
But until then, I would rather not know. What? Aliens
definitely
are what?
Real.
You think
100%.
so?
I think we're the only life in this infinitely expanding planet. I actually think.
I don't know.
I actually think this is weird. This is way off topic, but I actually think that aliens are actually like either people from like the future that are coming to look back at us.
Oh,
I think some of the aliens are like that, but I also think there's aliens from other planets that are just like coming in to check it out, see what's going on. But I think most of the aliens that visit us are actually time travelers.
Okay. So I think that that makes sense to me because I do think if the Earth is, or, is even around. And I find it really hard to believe that the galaxies in the space itself, it's so vast and huge that we are the only living thing in there. So I do find it hard to believe. But once again, I'd rather not know. And, like, I just blissfully unaware is how I like to live my life when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I kind of feel the same way about vampires. Well, do you think that vampires are real? For real?
I think there's a strong possibility, yeah. But I think they might exist not in the way that we think of like Bram Stoker's Dracula, but in other capacities.
So I did look it up because I was like, on something other than TikTok. And I found this article on CNN of all places. And it was written in 2022 by Scotty Andrew, reporter at CNN. And the title of it is Inside the World of Real Life Vampires in New Orleans and Atlanta. Ooh. And this person, Scotty Andrew, interviewed this man named Maven Lore, who is basically the leader of the New Orleans vampire group, club, organization. I don't know exactly what they call it.
Club.
And he was
the
getting
club.
Club, yes, the club. And went with him to get fitted for his first set of pointy fangs. Ooh. So fangs that they put over their teeth. And basically, this guy moved from New York to New Orleans because of the draw of the vampire lore from that area. And he kind of met his people and became like the leader of this group down there. And they kind of had this like organization where they're kind of like energy vampires. So not the traditional like drinking blood and flying around at night and, you know, whatever, but they basically like engage in all kinds of things. So a lot of sexual things, and they feed off the energy of these situations. Here we go. Few modern day vampires consume blood, often from consenting donors, typically loved ones or partners, only in small amounts. But many abstain or they condemn the practice and find sustenance in sexual encounters or other experiences that they can derive energy. When strangers are fearful, they ask if he will drink their blood, and he says, no, that's called murder. So they don't do any kind of feeding habits. They eat like normal food, but they engage in like kind of these non-socially accepted activities together and feed off the energy of each other and other consenting participants.
See? Yep. I could. Yep. Yeah.
Do you watch that TV show, What We Do in the Shadows?
No, but my sister has been trying to get me to watch this for years, and I'm always like, yes. And I always forget, but I guarantee it's up my fucking alley.
It is one of the funniest fucking shows I've watched in my entire life. It's about these 3 vampires who, 4, I'm sorry, there's 4. But one is from like medieval times, and then 2 are also from like ancient times. And one is a modern day vampire, and they all live together in New York City. And they are trying to like live as vampires, and they don't understand modern life at all. They still wear like their old attire. One of them was like a, like, he has full armor. They have thick accents. One of them is like sexually deranged. And one of them, his name's Colin Robinson, is an energy vampire. So he's the modern day vampire. And he goes and works in like office buildings and just bores the shit out of his coworkers. And that's, he feeds off their energy of them being like bored to death, basically. It's hysterical. It's on Hulu. There's like 4 or 5 seasons of it. When I tell you, you'll binge it. It's so fucking hilarious. And there's also a movie. So it's so good. If you love any kind of vampire shit, you're gonna love this because it's pretty great. And they have this guy who's not a vampire that works for him. His name is Guillermo. Guillermo is, they call him their familiar, and a familiar is like their slave basically. And he does all their shit for him. And Guillermo wants to be a vampire so bad, but they will not turn him into one. And he's just like this little fat, like Hispanic guy who just so badly wants to be a vampire and has to call them all master.
Oh,
and it's so funny. You just have to watch it. So maybe that's why I don't believe between Twilight and What We Do in the Shadows, I can't. I don't believe it.
Maybe you need to watch Lost Boys. That'll get you back into the.
I've seen it.
That'll get you back in the vampire groove.
I like vampire movies. I definitely like Interview with a Vampire. That was a good one. Yeah.
Interview with Vampire. Yeah.
Maybe I will.
I heard the Interview with the Vampire, the show, is pretty good.
I watched it. Yeah, it is good. It was good. Yeah. Yep.
I'll have to get into that.
Interesting. Well, I'd be curious to our listeners if you think vampires are real, or if you think it's more like this little social group that gets together and pretends to be vampires, does a group orgy, and everybody goes home happy for a couple weeks until they can do it again. I mean, I don't know.
I love that. I also want people's opinion on aliens too.
We should do an episode about aliens. We should. I don't know if we've ever talked about that. between the two of us. As I am not surprised that you believe in it, but I don't know if I put enough thought into it, but I am curious.
You know me. I see ghosts.
You do.
Regularly.
I know. You do.
Yes. So I'm like, what other phenomenons are there out there? I believe everything. I'm like,
yeah, and it's all going to come to you because
I feel like
me, on the other hand, I'm like, no, I won't even go down the aisle where the Ouija board is at Target.
Oh no, I don't. Nope. That's why I don't watch any like shows that are like demonic possession or anything like that. I'm like, nope, nope. Need that clean, good vibes, please.
Don't bring that energy in here.
No, funny ghost. Can I tell you a funny ghost story? So I get like night terrors where I'll see like a ghost that'll be like,
yes.
And my sister and I were in Las Vegas, and we're staying in the same room, and I see like I wake up and there's like somebody standing in front of me, and I'm so used to it that I'm like, no, go away, leave me alone, and then I just go back to bed.
Oh my god. Is this why you never let me sleep in the same bed with you when we visit each other?
So I always like to sleep by myself.
Well, fair enough. I have a kid that sleepwalks and has night terrors, so nothing really scares me at night anymore. Yeah. It's fine.
My one friend, like,
one time when he was 3, he walked outside in his diaper in the middle of the night, right out to the yard.
One time though, we had a ghost in my house that I lived in Pella, like right after I graduated, when I was doing my student teaching, and I lived with like a couple of the girls from the Lou. And there was like it was like a creepy old house, right? And there was like an old lady that would go from the bathroom to the kitchen to the living room. And I was like, am I the only one who sees this? But then one of the girls' boyfriends was there, and he's like, oh my God, last night I could swear I saw this old woman that walked from the bathroom to the kitchen and I was like, yes, I see her all the time.
I'd move out
all the time.
I would move.
I stayed at Nathan's for like, I don't know, 4 years.
Totally wrong. Well, since we've talked about the energy being sucked out of us in multiple ways, politicians and vampires, should we have the rest of our energy sucked out by doing the Bumble Beat?
I think so. Are you ready for the Bumble Beat? Are you ready for the Bumble Beat?
I'm ready.
Beep, 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 beep.
One of our listeners said that we should compile all of your different songs together and make one long Bumble Beat song. And I'm like, it would be 18 hours long. Because the song gets progressively longer.
And I just, you know me, I have a terrible memory. So too many concussions. So it's a different song in my head every time.
It's fine. I like the variety. It keeps things spicy for me.
All right. All right, Becky. As you know, in this game, we get 3 eligible suitors, 3 suitors, and you get to pick one. So today's game that we're going to play is called Vampire, Alien, Trumper.
Oh no.
So you get to pick.
So I gotta pick
which one of these is most likely to be a vampire, which one's most likely to be an alien, and which one is most likely to be a far, 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 far right Trumper. Not just your regular run of the mill, but maxi pad on the ear Trumper.
Yeah. QAnon supporter. I'm ready. Right.
So, suitor number 1, his name is Craig. He's 47. He's open-minded, adventurous, easy on the eyes, and drama-free. You know how I feel like about that statement. He likes stimulating conversation, golf, and boating. He's seeking ongoing connection. Okay. That's suitor number 1.
Okay.
Suitor number 2, his name is Dennis, and he's looking for a long-term relationship, and he's an advocate for breast cancer, autism, and domestic violence awareness.
Well, okay.
Suitor number 3, his name is Tonal, and
Tonal. Spell it.
Tonal. Tonal.
Tonal.
That's not
with a P?
No, with a T. I'm trying to.
Oh, tonal. T-O-T-O-L-N-O-L.
Tolnol.
Tonal.
Yeah. I'm not trying to do some weird accent.
Tonal.
I'm just trying to pronounce this guy's name. And now I feel like I'm in Spaceballs.
My apologies to Tonal. I did not hear that correctly.
I feel like I'm in a Mel Brooks movie.
The amount of times you had to say it for me to hear it correctly. It's just not a name I've heard before. Okay, I apologize.
I'm trying to pronounce it, and it's like it sounds weirdly racist as I'm trying to pronounce it. But he's just your regular average run of the mill white guy.
Okay.
All right. So his bio says everything is uniquely interesting to me after visiting more than 20 countries. He appreciates compassion, growth mindset, teamwork, and open-mindedness. Tonal.
Well, okay. These are my choices.
So, Becky, pick your pony. Suitor number 1, suitor number 2, or suitor number 3. Vampire.
Well, clearly number 3.
Trumper.
Clearly number 3 is a vampire because he's been alive for centuries. If his name is Tonal,
100%.
He's from a different era, clearly. Yes. Traveled to lots of countries. Everything is uniquely interesting, which means he's been around the block a couple times. He's seen some things. He's had a long time to experience all kinds of cultures. Mm-hmm. And open-minded and teamwork means let's work together to catch people to suck their blood because we're better in a team. So 100%. Wait a minute. I'm almost talking myself out of that because Tonal also could be an alien.
That was where I was going to go with this.
Okay, I'm going to pivot. I think that number 3, Tonal, is an alien because he's either been a time traveling person and has come back and we think he's an alien, or he's from another planet where that's a normal name like John, like J.D. Vance.
Jerkin Dick Vance.
Jerkin Dick Vance. Okay, so Tonal for sure is the alien. Okay. And then Craig, our bachelor number 1, I think he is a vampire because he said open-minded, easy on the eyes, drama-free. Now, the golf and the boating thing is throwing me off a little bit. Those daytime activities. So I'm not really sure. But I just have a feeling when you say open-minded, drama-free, that kind of thing, and he's attractive. I'm just going to have to say that he has to be the vampire.
Okay.
Oh, man, this is hard. What was the third one supposed to be? A Republic? Oh, just kidding. Oh, my God, I'm so bad at this. Craig is clearly a Trumper. He was at the Trump rally with the flags on his boats in Texas when they all drowned their boats.
Yes.
100%. Okay.
Anytime somebody says they need drama free, they've created the fucking drama.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. My bad. I'm way off my game right now. It's been a couple weeks since we've done this. Fun? Craig 100% is a Trumper. 100%. Yeah. God, Craig is all over Truth Social posting pictures of him boating and golfing, and he's got flags on everything he owns and probably a Trump sticker on the back of his Chevy.
Let me tell you.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's hard on the eyes.
Is he?
He's hard on the eyes.
But he said easy on the eyes? Oh,
that inflated.
Boy. He really does live in a
fantasy world. Inflated
fantasy world.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess this makes the most sense that Dennis Bachelor number 2 would be our vampire because he wants a long-term relationship, which means he wants to turn someone else into a vampire so they can be together forever and ever. Amen. And then an advocate for issues because who wants to suck the blood of somebody who maybe has cancer or, maybe other disabilities or barriers in their life. Yeah. So, he probably has a lot of money. And so advocating for these issues, he can give back and earn the trust of people and do some good while also offsetting the fact that he's sucking in the blood and killing people.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. I think we got it.
100%. The first guy, alien. I'm just kidding. Third guy's alien. Then Bachelor number 1, Trumper. Bachelor number 2, vampire. Yes. He's lived a life.
Bachelor number 3.
He respects death too.
Yeah, I think that comes with time and age, right? So
and he's been around for thousands of years, probably.
I think that has to be. Makes the most sense. Boy, that really took my brain on. I really had to stretch.
It was wild times we were living in.
Wild times. Boy, that was fun.
It was.
We talked about some good shit.
I missed your face.
Week.
It's been a while since I've seen you.
I missed your face since we've had our weekend together.
Poor Randall missed my face. That's why he's having a panic attack right now in the background.
Randall's like, get the fuck off your podcast.
Randall, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for listening to Lewd Mood. As always, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Becky.
Bye. Lewd Mood Podcast is produced by Kelly Lally and Becky Pospisil.
Music by Paul Size of Red Beat Entertainment.
Listen to our podcast anytime on Spotify Podcasts.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Lewd Mood